Good evening, dear students. It's a pleasure to be with you. Thank you for being so early here with me. I want us please to wait for a couple of more minutes so that we can have all your classmates, hopefully, in this first reunion, okay? And then we're going to start. But thank you very much for being so early, and I appreciate your time, okay? Thank you very much. Just let's wait for a couple of minutes, okay? Thank you. Okay, let's start because I don't want to, of course, and appreciate your time. Thank you very much for being early again. All right, so let me introduce myself first. My name is Carlos Olivera, and I'm going to be your teacher, okay, for the following weeks here at Executive English. Please let me welcome you to this family because I think that we are family, definitely. It's a very huge company. Um, Executive English, it's doing this for a couple of years, okay? And I think that, of course, by joining this course, you are certainly following a dream, which is, of course, to attain a good score in the exam, the TOEFL exam. And I just wanted to say that I have been in your shoes, okay? I have taken this exam twice in my life. Last time was actually last year. So I know how much stress, how much anxiety this can cost your persons. I know by experience how difficult it is to prepare yourself for this exam as well. So I just wanted to say that I comprehend you, that I understand your situation. And I also understand that there is a dream, of course, behind this desire to perform very well on this exam, whether it be being accepted in a international university, maybe in America, maybe in England, or getting a job, right? Or some students of mine, I've been doing this for a while already. Some students of mine have told me that they just want to take the exam because of personal realization, right? That's fine. I mean, we are trained in English for so many years, and of course, we want to demonstrate to ourselves that we are capable of performing this exam in the best manner, right? So thank you very much, okay, for being here with me. Thank you very much for being here, Executive English, for choosing us. And well, I just wanted to say that I admire you right from the beginning because, as I say, this exam is just for brave people who really want to demonstrate and to be honest with themselves and to show others how well and how proficient they are in English, okay? So thank you very much. And well, now, of course, I have a presentation prepared for you. And that way we're going to start. As I said in the WhatsApp group, this is not going to be a class for the content itself. We're not going to be learning about the TOEFL exam in the sense of what we normally are going to be learning about in the other classes. But today it's simply a general introduction to the general aspects of this exam, things that, of course, we want you to know before we get into the actual classes, which are going to begin tomorrow. And we are going to be having a very good time for the following weeks. So I really enjoy, and I hope you're going to enjoy it as much as I do. Okay. So as I was saying, thank you very much for choosing us. Welcome to Executive English. This is a huge family. More than 10,000 students have trusted us until this point. This is a Bolivian company that started in 2017, Cochabamba. And I think that, well, because of our years of experience, we are certainly qualified to teach you how to take this exam. And of course, as your teacher, as I was mentioning to you as well, I know what is it to prepare for this exam because I have been in that process myself, and I understand and I know how important this is for you. So I think that I just wanted to say that you have chosen the correct place. Okay, so thank you very much for joining this family. Many people have been in these classes already, so you are joining, as I say, a very large group of people who have also fulfilled their dreams through these classes. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so first thing I just wanted to say, some policies, okay, for our classes. That is to say, let's talk about some general rules, okay, that the company wants you to know, okay? First of all, it's super important for all of you that during the classes in the following days, you need to have your cameras on, okay? Whether you are getting into the classes through a laptop, through your cell phone, or any other device, please, it's necessary for you to have your cameras on. Why? Well, because we as a company consider that you are going to take advantage of the class and avail of all the material by having your cameras on, because that is going to somehow force you to pay attention to the classes, to be concentrated, to have your eyes fixed to the screen. And of course, that I think it's also for your benefit, right? Because you want to take advantage of the class, you want to learn how to approach every single section, which is, of course, what I'm going to be teaching you, and I'm going to be pleased to do so. Okay, so remind this, super important to have your cameras on. Of course, you can dispense with it for today. It's not necessary for this class to have your cameras on, but from the next class and continuing since that point, it's please very important for you to have your cameras on. Okay. Other thing, okay, this is not a threat, okay, by the way, it's simply, again, a policy of the company that if you're not going to have your cameras on in one of the classes for a while, I'm going to be taking you off the class just for a minute or for a second, and you are going to be the one returning to the class whenever you want, okay? Because as you could see, I always send the WhatsApp, excuse me, I always send the Zoom links to the WhatsApp group, and you can enter the class whenever you want, okay? The reason why I take you off is because, of course, the company wants to remain with this policy, but as I say, if I take you out just because you don't have your camera on for a while, whenever you solve your problem with your camera, you can, of course, get into whenever you want. And these classes are for you. You are paying for this, and we are pleased to be helping you and to be with you for every single doubt. Okay. So notice this is not a threat or something. That's just a very kind reminder that it is very important to have your cameras on. Okay. Beginning next class, of course, it's not necessary for today's class. All right. So having said that, thank you very much for your attention for this particular point. Okay. Let's move on. So what about the classes and the days in which we are going to have these classes? We're going to have classes from Tuesdays to Fridays, okay? Those are going to be the days in which we are going to have classes. Now, of course, in Executive English, we have a blended model of teaching people how to approach the TOEFL exam, because you're going to have theoretical and practical classes. Of course, some people say, well, no, it's just necessary to have practical classes, stuff like that. But nonetheless, of course, it's because that people don't really know what they're talking about, because theory and practice are things that need to be combined, okay? If you want to perform in this exam correctly and successfully, you're going to need to know what things are you going to find there, how to approach them, at what timing you're going to have to look at, or you're going to have to somehow available or avail yourself to. And that is going to cause the necessity for you to know about theory. That is to say, all concepts, all strategies, all methods to approach the different sections in the exam. And that is what I'm going to be teaching you on Tuesdays and Thursdays, okay? On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we are going to have theoretical classes. And on Wednesdays and Fridays, we're going to have practical classes. That is to say, we are going to apply everything we have learned, all right? So that is the idea. Theoretical, practical classes, a combination, a blending of this is going to cause a good performance on your exam. Of course, if you practice a lot with us, I am going to be always sending you material, free resources for you to practice apart from everything we are going to see and we're going to be receiving on class. And you're going to have the opportunity to practice a lot when you have your free time available. And by doing this and combining, of course, this technique, you're going to be successful in this exam, all right? So just in case you wanted to take notes on this part, all right? Let's continue. Now, let's get into some general information about the TOEFL IBT exam, just in case somebody asks you someday or because you are curious. Of course, it's super important to know what we are trying to confront, to know what we are facing, right? And let's talk about some general information about the TOEFL exam. Now, just in case maybe you didn't know, TOEFL means Test of English as a Foreign Language, okay? That's what the word means, Test of English as a Foreign Language. Of course, super intuitive, right? Anyways, it's super intuitive to know that that is probably the meaning, but maybe you never thought about it. I didn't think about it for a long time since somebody told me, or I think I realized it myself. But the point is that Test of English as a Foreign Language, okay? Now, of course, this exam, it's not, oh, by the way, this is a super old exam. Maybe, fun fact or something interesting for you is that the year when this exam was released is 1967. So not just because you are joining Executive English, that is to say our company, you are joining a huge family, but also by taking the exam, you are joining a, well, I would say inconceivable, enormous family, because many people have taken this exam since 1967 and take into consideration that this is, of course, the most required exam in order to demonstrate proficiency in English. So it's just incredible. As I say, it's inconceivable how many people have taken this exam already since that year. Now, of course, the exam is super famous because of different reasons. One of them is that it has a lot of modalities, or it has a lot of versions. And let's talk about that, okay? The most common version, and probably the one that you're going to take, is going to be the TOEFL IBT version, which is the internet-based test. Now, this internet-based test, it's a super easy modality, or, well, it's super easy to understand this, because what you have to do if you're going to take the TOEFL IBT version, it's simply the following. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to the ETS website. By the way, ETS, okay, remind that name, ETS. It's the name of the company that organizes this exam. It's the name of the company that develops the exam, and the name of the company that controls the exam. That is to say, they are hiring people for you to be evaluated. They have their reviewers, they have people who are professional in this area who evaluate your responses, your performance on the exam, okay? So they are basically the CEOs of all these exams. Now, what is the point? That ETS has a website. You have to go to that website. You have to search for it. Of course, you have to Google it. And then you have to create an account. And then when you have an account, you're going to be able to register yourself in order to take the TOEFL IBT version. So what is the TOEFL IBT version? It's the exam in which you're going to have to choose a test center in your city. By a test center, I simply mean an institution, a building, a place where ETS has people, staff members from ETS, who are going to have computers. And through those computers that ETS and the staff members are going to give you, you are going to perform on the exam. That is to say, you are going to be doing all your activities there through that computer they are going to give you, okay? So once you choose your test center, that in every single city of the world, there is at least one test center available. You have to choose if there are more than one. You choose your test center. Of course, there are some due dates already programmed there, so you have to choose a date in which the exam is available for you to take it. So after you take the exam, or excuse me, after you decide when you want to take the exam, you simply pay your fee, of course, and then on the due date, you have to go to your test center, and they are going to receive you. And as I say, you're going to take the exam through a computer. You're going to use keyboards, you're going to use a mouse, you're going to use, of course, a screen, you're going to have a monitor, however you want to name it. You're going to have, in order to take notes, they are going to be providing you with sheets of papers, they are going to provide you with pencils, erasers, whatever you may need, they are going to provide you with, okay? So that is the first modality of the exam. You take it through a computer in a test center, and there are going to be staff members from ETS, of course, helping you, making sure your computer works fine, you are performing on the exam correctly, you're not cheating on the exam as well, of course, although obviously nobody cheats on the exam because people who are really proficient in this exam and of course want to show that with honesty are the people who take it. But just in case, as I say, ETS is going to be there. Now the point is, if you want to take this modality, when you go to your test center, you are going to find that there are going to be more test takers. That is to say, you're not going to be the only one taking the exam. So that in the computation room, where they, of course, bring you in order to take the exam, there are going to be, I don't know, 10 people, 12 people besides you. One in your left arm, one in your right arm, one, I don't know, behind you, maybe one in front of you. People, of course, sat in their own desks with their own computers, taking the same exam that you are taking. Okay, so you have to know that you're going to take it. If you are going to use this modality, you are going to take the exam with more people. Okay, and you have to, as I say, choose a test center, and you don't have to worry about anything else from their own. Once you pay your fee and once you have chosen your test center, you simply prepare yourself for the exam and you go there on the due date, that is to say, to the test center in order to take the exam, and the people from ETS, they are going to help you with all the equipment, everything you may need. Okay, that is the first modality of the exam, right? It's probably the one you're going to take. Now, there are two other versions. The first one is the PBT version, which is different. Notice IBT to PBT. The PBT version is the paper-based test, which with regard, for example, to content, with regard to the way it is qualified, with regard to, I don't know, techniques or methods in order to approach the exam, is exactly the same as the IBT. It's exactly the same. What is the difference then? The only difference from the IBT to the PBT version is that the PBT version, it's on paper. That is to say, you are not going to use a computer in order to take the exam. You're not going to have a keyboard to write down your essays, for example, for the writing section. You're not going to have a mouse, anything. You're just going to do everything on paper. That is to say, writing down essays with your hands, pencil, I don't know, reading your materials for the reading section on a paper, not on the screen. As I say, it's everything you're going to find on the IBT version, but moved or changed into paper. That is to say, everything is going to be on paper. All right. This is not a very common version. Usually, this is the version that countries from Africa use, in which, you know, it's difficult to access to internet. Nonetheless, if it is available in your city and you consider yourself somebody who likes to do everything on paper, well, go for it. The fee, it's most of the time super similar to the IBT version. And as I say, with regard to the content, to the way you have to prepare for it, with the qualification system, it's exactly the same. So you don't have to worry about anything but to, of course, work with papers, okay? Now, there's a last modality, which is, of course, new, okay? This was not existing in 2019, for example, or it was implemented in 2020. That is to say, beginning the pandemic or since the pandemic is when this modality or version for the exam was implemented. Now, this is called the home IBT version. Okay, notice that the only difference is that it is the IBT version, but it has a new word, home IBT version. Now, the home IBT version is exactly the same to the IBT version, but the only difference is, of course, in the home IBT version, you're going to have your exam through a computer, using keyboards with the same content than the IBT, with your mouse, everything. But the only difference, which is, of course, a crucial and huge difference anyways, is that you are not going to go to a test center, but, as I say, you're going to take it at home, okay? You're going to take your exam at home with your own computer, with your own internet, with your own mouse, with your own keyboard, with your everything. I mean, everything that is yours, okay? With regard to the content, to the punctuation, with regard to the methods and techniques for preparing for the exam, everything is the same, okay? It's the same preparation, the same content, the same type of exercises you're going to receive for the IBT version or for the PBT version, okay? Everything with regard to that is exactly the same for the home IBT edition. Now, as I say, there are some differences. Obviously, the most, well, noticeable and enormous one is, of course, the fact that you're going to take it at home with your own things and devices. Nonetheless, there is something else. For the IBT version and for the PBT version, when you take notes, because something very important for this exam, and you're going to notice this once we arrive to the material, okay, for the normal classes, it's to take notes. And if you're taking the IBT version and the PBT version, you're going to take notes on a paper like this, on a blank sheet of paper, and ETS is going to be giving you a sheet of papers like this one. And of course, they are going to give you pencils and pens as well, okay? You don't have to bring anything to the test center if you are taking the IBT version or the PBT version, because they are not even going to allow you to get into the computation room with anything. If you have the school bag, you have to let it out of the room. If you have pencils, papers, everything, they are going to give you what you need. You don't have to bring anything with you but your own presence and knowledge, of course. So this is for the IBT and PBT version. But if you're taking the home IBT version, you're not going to be allowed to write down your notes in this type of material. What ETS requires you to do if you are planning to take the home IBT version is to buy a whiteboard desktop. That is to say, una pizarra blanca, a desktop whiteboard, in which, of course, is one of these ones that you use with erasable marker, con marcador borrable, and you're going to take your notes through that device. That is to say, you're going to have your whiteboard here, and with erasable marker, you're going to have to write down your notes. Of course, maybe I didn't mention it, there is going to be somebody from ETS looking at you through the webcam. So of course, you're not going to be able to cheat on the exam. If you get out of the visual cam of the person who is looking at you for 3 seconds, you're out. Of course, they're going to disqualify you. So the idea is you need to always be with your whiteboard here, taking your notes if you want, allowing the person or the staff member from ETS to look at you. This is a difficulty, of course, because you're going to have to erase things if you want to write down more, because of course the space is limited for whiteboards, right? This is a difficulty. So you need to consider all these things in order to decide what type of version you need to take or you want to take in all cases of this exam, okay? These are all the type of versions. There are no more. And as you can see, you can choose all of them, or you can choose one of them, in the sense that if one of them is available for you and you want to take it, you choose it. You can choose it. For example, maybe in your country or your city, the home IBT version is not available. So you, of course, are not going to be able to take it. But if in your city, the home IBT version is available and also the IBT version is available, you can decide what modality or version to take. Obviously, you're going to know what modality is available in your country and city by going to ETS, of course, okay? ETS.com, that is the website where you have to do everything, okay? Any question about any question about anything I have said until this point? Any question about the types of or the modalities for the TOEFL exam? Any question or anything you want me to clarify until this point? Please tell me. I'm going to be super glad to help you. Anything?
I think that everything is very clear, teacher. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Lucia. I'm glad that everything is clear then. Any other of the students here? Do you have a question? Or we are fine? No? Okay. We are fine then. Wonderful. Thank you very much. So what else? Now, let's continue. We have more, okay? Why should you take the TOEFL exam? Well, that's a very good question. Maybe, of course, this is redundant in the sense that maybe the reason why you are here is because you know you have a reason to take the TOEFL exam, but nonetheless, maybe you want to know. Why should normally people take this exam? Well, because of 2 reasons. Or actually, yes, well, because of 2 or 3, mainly 3. First one, be accepted in a university abroad. Of course, I assume that all of us here we are from any country in which English is not the native language, of course, right? We are from South America, we are from Central America, or for any other part of the world in which English is not the main language. Now, of course, if you want to study in a place, in a country, in any university in which English is the main language, of course, the institution, before accepting you, before giving you permission to attend their institution, of course, they are going to ask you to demonstrate that you're going to be able to take advantage of all the content they are going to teach you. That is to say, if you're going to be able to do your homework, to understand what the professor says, to talk with your partners, because of course, if you are in a university, you have to make social life, right? You have to have friends. You're not going to be isolated because you don't know how to speak English. So the idea is, as I say, if you want to be accepted in a university abroad, well, you need to demonstrate your proficiency. Of course, how do you do that? Well, exactly by taking the TOEFL exam, which is especially designed in order to demonstrate or to evaluate how well you can perform in university settings and professional settings, okay? This is the exam that is, as I say, it's the favorite one around the world in order to demonstrate your proficiency for those two areas. The first one for academic or university settings, and the second one for professional settings, okay? And that brings me, of course, to the second reason why people take the exam, that is to get a job. Maybe one of you is, I don't know, a software developer who wants to work for an international company, or any other professional who wants to work for an international company. And in order to do that remotely, maybe you want to work from your own country for a company that is in America, or that is in England, or any other country of the world. If you want to work remotely, you're going to have to communicate anyways with the different partners you're going to have in your job. Of course, they're going to speak English. You are the one who are working remotely. They are not the ones who are working remotely. So they are going to, of course, require you to speak English with them, to have conversations, to have discussions, I don't know, to make plans, whatever. So the idea, if you want to demonstrate that you are able to communicate professionally in English, this is your exam as well. It tests your capacity to speak in academic settings, as I say, to listen to academic settings, to write down investigations, articles, essays, I don't know, whatever an institution that has prestige, that is professional, could demand you to do, okay? So that is the idea. And of course, maybe you are applying to one of the best universities of the world. Maybe you want to have a master's degree from Harvard University. Who knows? Maybe you want to do that. And of course, you're going to need a scholarship, right? Because universities in America are super expensive. And a scholarship would be the ideal characteristic for you to study in the US or any other university of Europe. So scholarships are always pursued by the best minds of the world, right? So the best people of the world are trying to get scholarships, especially the full ride scholarships, that is to say, complete scholarships, right? So if you want to compete against the best people of the world, well, of course, you need to demonstrate that your English, at least, is superior to theirs. So how do you do that? Well, again, by taking this exam and, of course, performing very well. So those are the main reasons why people take this exam. Nonetheless, maybe some of you, okay, wants to take this exam because of personal realization. Maybe you want to demonstrate to yourself that you're able to speak English to get a good qualification. Well, wonderful. Of course, why not, right? Many years we spent in learning English. We want to demonstrate what we have learned. You want to know your level of English? Great, take the exam as well, okay? Those some of the reasons. And we're going to be getting into this actually afterwards, because I'm going to be asking you, why are you taking the exam? So keep it in mind. And that is exactly the next slide, actually. Let's get to know each other, okay? So, of course, let me begin. We're going to be saying what our name is, what city are we from, why are we taking the course, the TOEFL exam, do you need a specific score in the test? Okay, this is actually a very good moment to mention this. The exam is a score from the punctuation or in the spectrum of 0 to 120. 0 is, of course, the minimum qualification. Nobody gets it, I guess. Okay, 0 is the worst thing. I mean, you don't know anything. But 120, okay, 120 is the maximum qualification. Maybe the score you're looking for, it's a very high score, or maybe it's a middle score, or maybe, of course, it's a low score. It depends. Why? Because depending on why you want to take the exam, you, of course, are going to have different goals, right? Maybe one of you want to apply to Harvard University. Well, wonderful. You want to compete against the best minds of the world. If you want to do so, well, you're going to have to get a super high score, right? Because you're going to demonstrate, or you want to demonstrate, that you are from the best of the best, right? But maybe many of you want to take courses in a university that is more modest in Europe, right? Which it doesn't mean that they are worse than Harvard. No, not actually. But it means that they don't have the prestige of Harvard, right? So maybe you want to study, I don't know, in England, in a university from England, or from any other country, in Poland, I don't know, whatever. So the reason, if you want to take this exam, you need to know why, because depending on why you want to take it, you're going to know them. How much would you like to score? For example, if you want to apply to Harvard, taking again the illustration, it is known that Harvard doesn't even look at profiles of people who don't have more than 110. Okay, 110, it's fine. It's a good qualification. Like for them, that is what you need to have in order to be considered. Less than that, of course, I mean, again, the best people of the world, right? So 110, it's what they are expecting you. And if you get more, well, of course, wonderful, right? Because 110 is almost perfection. Because as I say, the maximum score, 120. The minimum score, 0. So 110 is super near to perfection, right? But maybe you want to study in England, for example, and your university requires you, okay, in order to demonstrate that you're able to study here, we would like you to get 70. All right, wonderful. So you go for 70, right? But as I say, minimum qualification, 0, maximum 120, all right? Maybe you want to know, for example, how many people get more than 105, or how many people get more than 100, for example. I was actually reading an article yesterday, which was published by Prep Scholar. It's a very famous website for those of you who are, knowledgeable of academics and all this university setting, application setting. Prep Scholar published an article, I think last year, and they managed to collect statistics from ETS, and it is stated in their website that 95% of the test takers, that is to say, people who take the exam, do not get more than 105. 95% of the people who take the exam do not get more than 105. Okay? So if you want to be like in the 5% of the world who has more than 105, well, of course, you're going to have to practice a lot. Of course, if you want to have a middle qualification, 80, 90, 70, it's fine. I mean, wonderful. It's a good qualification. Remind, the maximum is 120. But just in case you know what the statistics are, just 5% of the people who take the exam get more than 110. So it's not impossible, but nonetheless, it's of course difficult. That's the reason why you're taking these classes, right? Because it's difficult. You want to take preparation. Of course, that is why I'm here, right? So don't worry. We are going to be working on that. Tell me what specific score you want, and we can maybe tackle one specific area in order to help you to get that score. Because as I say, it's everything a matter of two things. First of all, motivation, because how much you really want to get that score. I mean, if you really want it. And second, well, study. That is to say, not only theoretical, but also practical, okay? If you have those things, motivation that is super high, I mean, you want that, well, you study hard, you practice hard, you get it, right? It's possible, of course. Now, let me introduce myself then, all right? It's not because of anything, right? It's just that I want to start because maybe you are going to feel a little bit uncomfortable to introduce yourself without knowing who your professor is. So just in case. So as I was mentioning, my name is Carlos Andres Olivera. I have taken this exam twice in my life. As I was mentioning you, this is a process that I know very well. I know this exam as the palm of my hand, because I was meditating this with my sister the other day. The last 2 years of my life, I spent them majoritarily or mostly practicing for this exam, which is quite interesting when I think about it, because it's like, man, I mean, I spent most of my time by practicing for this exam. Well, that's a matter. The first time I took it, 2020, I got 100. And last year, thank God, I managed to get 110, all right, 2021. So why I mentioned this? Because when I began to prepare myself for this exam, I made simulations. And you know how much I got when I made those simulations? I got something like 80 or 70. So I really wanted to have a high score. Why? In 2020 was, personal realization actually. But in 2021 was for a different reason. In 2021, thank God I had the opportunity to be part of a scholarship program by the American embassy here in Bolivia. I'm from Bolivia, by the way, from Santa Cruz, Bolivia. And I had the opportunity to be on a scholar from the embassy, right? From the American embassy in one of their scholarships and program they sustain, obviously, with funds from the US. And this program was called Opportunity Funds. And this Opportunity Funds program basically what allowed me to do or the way it helped me was by paying all the necessary fees for me to apply to American universities. If you go to American universities, you are maybe already aware that there are a lot of costs in order to apply to universities. Okay. As I was mentioning, you have to pay for the exam, for the TOEFL exam. You need to pay for other exams depending on whether you are deciding to go for an undergraduate program or a graduate program, the SIT, the GRE, a lot of things. Okay, just to make it brief. The point. I got this scholarship, and I literally talked to the person who is the representative of the United States here in Bolivia, and he basically demanded me to get more than 100, and I mean to get more than 100 because they knew that I had gotten 100 in 2020. I received this scholarship in 2021, so they literally demanded from me to get more than 100, and well, that was frightening, of course, because I mean the US was investing on me, so I did not want to disappoint them, of course, and obviously I wanted to get on the scholarship to study in the US. I studied day, morning, afternoon, evening, basically all day, and as I say, I managed to get 110. Maybe you are asking, did I manage to get the scholarship? Sadly, no, in the sense that I was accepted by a lot of universities in America, but none of them gave me 100% scholarship, that is to say, a full ride. And well, because of course of my economic, of my financial situation, I was not able to afford the tuition there. So of course, I just remained. I just remained here in Bolivia. But nonetheless, it was wonderful. Okay, just in case you wanted to know a little bit about me, I am somebody who has always loved America, that is to say, the US. I am somebody who likes to read a lot. I like to read, especially about politics, sociology, philosophy. I'm a student of law, by the way, and system engineering. So I'm studying 2 careers. So I like to read a lot. And as I say, I have always dreamed. I have always dreamed with being in the U.S. and being part of that civilization with those liberal ideas and economic foundations, whatever. I mean, a lot of things, right? The point. I am somebody who likes to read. You can see there are some of the things that I've done. Don't really like to talk about it, but the point is, as I say, I am somebody who likes to read, who likes to learn new things, and especially to fulfill his dreams. Okay. Second thing, which of these animals represent you the most and why? In this case, the one that I would like it to represent me would be the fox, because there's a book. I don't know if you have ever heard about this person, Nicolas Machiavelli. And this person wrote a book called The Prince. It's a very famous politics book. And he mentioned that if you want to be a leader, you need to be like a fox, because you need to detect when people are trying to put traps in your path. So yeah, I would like to be like a fox. I'm not saying that I am like a fox, but I would like to be like a fox. Of course, maybe as an owl, right? Because everybody says that owls are wise and things of that sort. Who knows? But I would like to be like these animals. All right. So now it's your turn to talk to me about you. Okay, tell me about your person. Maybe you're studying something, you want to share it with us. I'm going to maybe I do have some volunteer. Does somebody want to start? Maybe. to introduce herself or himself? Or do you want me to pick up who's going to continue?
Hi, everyone.
Hi. Ezequiel?
My
Yes.
name is my name is Ezequiel Salas. I'm from Costa Rica. Costa Rica.
Wonderful.
Yeah, thank you. What's the other question? I forgot.
Oh yeah. Let me show you. Sorry. There you have
Okay. What? Okay. I'm taking the course in the TOEFL exam because I'm looking for a master's degree in a university in the United States. Yeah.
Wonderful. Mhm.
Actually, I'm veterinarian, so I'm looking for a master's degree in
Wonderful.
my aquaculture production area.
Wow.
And the other one is the specific score for the test that I looking for. Well, for the university will be 79 score.
Wonderful. Yes.
So if it will be more than 79, that would be good, like excellent for me.
Yes. Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you very much, dear. Your name here, Ezequiel. It's a pleasure to have you from Costa Rica, being part of these classes. I have always loved that country. I've always wanted to visit it. I
Yeah,
didn't have the opportunity. I was near some one
sorry,
year. I was in. Oh yeah. Continue, Ezequiel.
I don't turn on my camera. Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. For today's class, it's fine. Ezequiel, don't worry. It's fine. Since I was mentioning, like I love your country. One of my cousins lived there for a couple of years, and he loved that country. He told me wonderful things about the people there. So it's wonderful, again, also wonderful to know that you're wanting to apply to American universities. That is a process that I was also part of, and I understand it's super, it's super difficult and also puts a lot of anxiety right on you. So
Yes.
I understand you, and if you have anything that I can help you with, you can always send me a message. Okay, get in touch
Thank
with me.
you.
You have my WhatsApp there.
Okay.
Anything I can help you with. Okay, Ezequiel. But thank you very
Thank you
much for
so
sharing that
much.
with us.
Okay, I
Wonderful.
think I'm gonna go next because other my classmates are very shy, but it's nice to meet you, Ezequiel. It's nice to meet you, Carlos. I'm glad to hear that you have a lot of experience of the TOEFL exam and you're able to help us because I think that we are very nervous. My name is
Yeah.
Lucia. I'm from
Fine.
Cochabamba, Bolivia.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
I'm
continue.
taking this course because I want to
Wonderful.
apply also to a master in Canada, and there they ask you
Wonderful.
a high level of English. No, I think that
Yes.
the note is like 89, but I want to get more.
Yeah.
I want to get more, so
Of
I'm
course.
gonna put all of my effort there, and I'm glad that you're gonna teach us a lot because I want to learn a lot and I want to improve my English in the most that I can. So thank you very much. It's nice to meet you all.
Thank you very much, Lucia. Wonderful. Thank you very much for your joy. That's super contagious. Um, yeah, definitely. I mean, I am so glad that you are also pursuing a master degree, that you're from my country as well, from Bolivia. We're Bolivians. It's a pleasure to be with you. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. Yes, I mean, the score 89, yes, definitely is a considerable score. It's certainly a high level of English. Nonetheless, as I say, when I was beginning my preparation, I took those simulations and I got 70 something like that, and I later got those scores. So I think it's possible. So I just wanted to motivate you to say that definitely it's possible to get more than 100, or excuse me, more than 89, which is of course what you need at least. But nonetheless, thank you very much, Lucia, for your trust. And wonderful. We are going to get into that. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. It's awesome that we are from Bolivia too. And I want to say that Ezekiel didn't say what animal was. what animal
Oh, no, he didn't say it.
Yeah, and
But you said,
he is from
you say it,
his
Lucia.
area, so he has to say it, and
Oh,
then I'm
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
say it.
definitely. Ezequiel, please help us. What animal do you identify with?
Let's see. Sorry. I
Yes,
think the raccoon. Yeah.
the raccoon. All right, yeah. Yeah, certainly the raccoon itself. But why? Why do you think, is there any trait in this animal that is similar to your personality or something like that?
Yeah. The personality.
All right. Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you very much, Ezequiel. Okay. Now,
Okay,
Lucia.
it's my turn. I think that I'm gonna pick up the little turtle because you might think that the turtle is slow and is a little bit lazy, but in that he has a tough side that make them be prepared for everything, and that's what I like of the turtles.
Oh, wonderful, Lucia. Yeah, very profound meditation there. Very philosophical. But yeah, definitely. It's
A little
very
bit,
interesting.
but
Yes.
also they are so cute. So the turtles.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. They are very, very cute. Yeah, wonderful. Thank you very much, Lucia, for sharing that with us, and Ezequiel too. All right, so the final one's Sergio. Sergio, please, would you like to introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about you.
Good evening. Nice to meet you. First of all, thank you so much for Clase in this process. My name is Sergio. I'm from Cochabamba, Bolivia. I'm a civil engineer and I study at the San Simon University here in Cochabamba. I graduated in 2018. So I have 4 years of professional experience. I think it's time to apply for a scholarship, no, to study abroad. I want to specialize in water resources and climate change. No?
Wow, wonderful. Yes. Is there any specific score you would like to get, Sergio?
I saw DAAD in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
They 80.
Yes, 80.
I think
All
so.
right. Oh, wonderful. All right. And finally, what animal would you say it's like a good portrait of your person?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think an owl.
Oh,
Because
right. Wonderful. No.
Duolingo, it was very useful for me for many years.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes, with the lingo. You associated
I
it. Yes.
choose him.
Yes. Wonderful. Thank you very much, Sergio. That was a wonderful connection. I had never thought about it, but yes, the lingo has actually that particular animal, right? As their pet.
For beginners, it's the best.
Yes, yes, certainly it is. It is a good application. Thank you very much, Sergio. Yes, I'm glad to listen as well that you're from Bolivia, and that you're also as Lucia looking for an opportunity to study abroad. I think that certainly unites us not only the three of us, but also Ezequiel, because somehow we have been awakened with this desire, right, to study abroad, to look for better opportunities. And of course, the TOEFL exam is a means in order to attain that objective. And I think that certainly unites us somehow, right? Connects us because we are somehow looking for the same objective, right? For the same aim, which is, of course, to progress. And we want to do so by getting on a scholarship, to studying abroad, to get the best education we can. And I'm glad that we are very similar with that regard. Okay. Thank you very much, dear students, for sharing that with me. I am so honored to be with so talented people, all of you wanting to pursue a graduate program. It's wonderful. Honestly, I am tremendously humble and honored by your achievements and by your aims as well. Okay, so thank you very much for sharing that with me. Okay, so now let's continue. Now that we have known each other, and of course we're going to be knowing more about us in the future when we're in the classes. But let's get into this just in order to finalize this. Okay, there's no much, okay, in this particular part. You know things you need to know. The TOEFL exam is going to evaluate you in 4 areas. Maybe, of course, this is intuitive as well. Reading, listening, speaking, and writing. The 4 basic ones, right? Now, this is a long exam. The whole exam is going to last for approximately 3 hours and a half, okay? I want to tell you this because right from the beginning, you need to prepare yourself mentally to tolerate this time. 3 hours and a half, approximately, is going to be the time that your exam is going to last. Doesn't matter if you're taking the IBT version, home IBT version, or if you're taking the PBT version. Doesn't matter, 3 hours and a half, okay? Now, as you can see, the exam is divided in the following way. Once you get into the computation room, if you're taking the IBT version, or once you turn on your computer, you have your software prepared, if you're taking the home IBT version, the first section is always going to be the reading section, okay? We are going to be getting into this in the following weeks. What are you going to find here? How should you prepare? How to approach this section? Everything we are going to discuss it later, okay? Just I want you to know the first section you're going to have in the exam is going to be the reading section. It's going to last from 60 to 80 minutes, okay? There's a little variation that we're going to explain later. After you finish that, immediately you have to continue and move on to the listening section without stopping, okay? There's not going to be any break, no rest after you finish the reading section. That's the reason why I mentioned this is a long exam, okay? You're going to have the listening section as the next one to approach. This one is going to last from 60 to 90 minutes. So you need to also be prepared in order to approach this, in order to recognize the type of questions you are going to receive, in order to be somehow acquainted and familiarized with the type of material you're going to be listening to, and everything, of course, we're going to discuss it in class, okay? Now, after you finish these 2 sections, okay, which of course they make something like more than 1 hour, 2 hours and something extra, maybe, 2 hours and a half, something like that, you are going to move on to what? To the 10 minutes break. This is the only time in which you're going to have a rest, okay? If you're taking the IBT version, they are going to take you out of the room. You can go to the bathroom, drink something, eat something, whatever. 10 minutes break, okay? It's super short. After you finish your 10 minutes break, you move on, you get into again, and you begin with the speaking section. This is the shortest section, 20 minutes, no more than that. That is what is going to last. You're going to have 4 different tasks there. We're going to get into that, don't worry. Actually, tomorrow we're going to start with this section. So please be ready for that. And after you finish the speaking section, you get into the writing section, which is the last one. And it's going to last for 50 minutes approximately, okay? So as you can see, long exam. Now, the only recommendation that I want to give you right from the beginning is the following one. If you were planning to practice for this exam by watching movies, series, or reading novels, I'm sorry to tell you this, but that is not going to work. The material, the elements, the preparation you need to get is mostly academic. If you want to perform well for this exam, you have to do the following. Begin reading books about science in English. Begin listening to classes in English, lectures, that is to say, classes given by professors in English. On YouTube, there are a lot of classes. Harvard, for example, has a lot of free classes for people who want to know how to study in that university. Watch those classes on YouTube, free classes. Read any scientific article. Listen to podcasts, scientific podcasts. Listen to, do anything. I mean, consume any type of material that can somehow familiarize yourself with academic subjects or professional subjects, okay? For example, one of you is a veterinarian. Okay, read about veterinary, but in English. Listen to classes on veterinary in English. Practice by doing that. Sergio, you are a civil engineer. Lucia, I think she didn't mention what major she was, or I'm sorry, I forgot about the point. All of you, practice by immersing yourself into academic material. I'm not saying, by the way, to learn about science. No, no, no. I'm not saying you should learn about history. I'm not saying you should learn about or memorize any other material. No, no, no. What I'm saying is to get familiarized. Familiarícense with the terminology academic material uses, with the expressions professors use, with the type of conversations you could have in a university if you were working for somebody abroad. Familiarize with that, because the exam is going to evaluate you in that particular English, okay? Daily English, the English that you could talk with your friends, the English that is normally spoken in movies, in series, in novels. That's the reason why I tell you, don't read novels. It's not the moment. All that English is daily, it's normal, it's a day-to-day English. That is not going to help you to improve your score in this exam. Familiarized with academic English, professional English, university English, okay? That is what you need to familiarize with, all right? First recommendation, and actually the most important one, familiarize with academic English, okay? As I say, reading novels, articles, books on science, on any particular field you're interested into. The point is to get familiarized with how these academics are taught. That is to say, how professors speak, what expressions they use, how university students speak, how interactions or conversations within a company are taking place, excuse me. That's the type of English you should familiarize with, okay? Now, finally, last thing, what is going to be the calendar for our classes? Let me show you. I have it prepared here, actually. Look at this. As of course you are aware, you're going to have 6 weeks of classes. The first week, that is to say, what we're starting right now, and what we're also actually going to start from tomorrow on, is going to be the speaking section. We have divided the speaking section in different modules, let us say, okay, in different subjects. The first week, all this week, we are going to be learning about the speaking section number 1, that is to say, the first task of the speaking section. The second week, we're going to be learning about the speaking 2 and 3, that is to say, the second task and the third task of the speaking section. Third week, we're going to be learning about the speaking 4 and writing 1. We're going to get into another section. Fourth week, writing 1 and writing 2. Fifth week, reading section. Sixth week, listening section. As you can see, in all these weeks, we are going to cover all the material or all the sections we are going to be evaluated into in the exam, okay? You're going to receive preparation for everything: speaking, writing, reading, and listening. And you're going to have, as I say, emphasis on the things that we know are more difficult. That's the reason why we're going to spend 3 weeks discussing speaking, but it's because, of course, it's the most difficult part. Writing as well, 2 weeks, reading and listening 1 week, but of course, all the preparation you're going to receive, okay? Save this picture, maybe you can take a screenshot here. This is the calendar we're going to be following, okay? Now, final thing, something extra that you are going to receive because you have chosen executive English in order to prepare yourself for the TOEFL exam is this: speaking sessions. You're going to have the right, okay? You are able to do this without paying any extra fee. This is included in your fee. You're going to have the opportunity to reserve 12 15-minute calls with me. These are going to be one-to-one calls, just you and me, one of you and me, okay? One of you and me. For example, Sergio with me, Lucia with me, Ezequiel with me, okay? One by one, one-to-one. You can reserve, okay, through our website. I'm going to be sending a tutorial to our WhatsApp group of how to reserve this, but you're going to be able to reserve 12 15-minute calls with me, one-to-one, as I said. What are we going to do in these calls? We're going to practice for the speaking section, because again, this is the most difficult part of the exam. You need to prepare yourself very well for this. This is part of our services. So you can reserve. There are some available times for you to reserve. Whenever you're going to be able to see a calendar there. And if there is a particular time, one day in which you are able to reserve and you have time, you can reserve for that time. And you're going to be having that call with me, okay? And what we're going to do in this calls is going to be practicing just for the speaking section, just as it's going to be in the exam. We have a simulator here in the company, so we're going to be practicing for this section just as it's going to be in the exam, okay? So that you can have the best preparation possible. Any question about anything I have said to this point? Anything you may want me to clarify? Or we are fine here? Any question?
No, I think that everything is very clear.
Okay, thank you, Lucia. Ezequiel,
Yeah,
can you?
yeah, everything is clear.
All
There's
right.
no
Thank you very much.
any doubts. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Sergio, everything's fine?
Yeah.
Wonderful. So please wait for me to send that to the WhatsApp group. I'm going to do it right now, actually, once we finish. Okay, so you're gonna be able to reserve this course. You can do it whenever you want. Okay, maybe you want to start from next week, as you wish. Okay, now, last thing, every single class, before we finish, okay, you don't have, when I say, okay, this is the last part, you don't have to go, okay, because we're gonna take your assistance. Okay, of course, you know that these courses also have a diploma. So in order to get a diploma, you need to be present, of course. So I need to take your assistance. So please don't go after we finish the classes because I need to take your assistance. Of course, this class, I'm not gonna take it because as I said, this is an introductory class. It's not part of the agenda. But nonetheless, as I say, we're gonna have that, okay? And secondly, every single class at the end, we're gonna have a poll. Okay, what is a poll? Una votación. This poll is an anonymous poll. You are going to be the ones voting anonymously, okay? I cannot know who votes what, okay? This is anonymous. And that poll is going to be to evaluate, okay, in your own opinion, sincere opinion, if you consider that the class I have given was well prepared, if you managed to understand me, if I managed to help you with your doubts, you are gonna help me a lot if you can respond to that poll positively, okay? So at the end of every single class, you're gonna have that poll, okay? To respond, of course, sincerely, and as I say, if you respond positively, you're gonna help me a lot, okay? So, of course, we're going to begin with that today, okay? I am delivering right now. Look at your screen. There is a poll appearing on your screen. Please respond to this question. As I say, this is an anonymous poll, okay? I cannot know who responds what, okay? So please respond to this poll before we go. And of course, if you have any other question, please tell me. Okay, look at your screen, respond the poll, all right? Yeah, Ezequiel,
Carlos,
question? Yes.
I have a question.
For sure.
Okay, every single class, it will be recorded or not?
Yeah, certainly. Every single class is going to be recorded. We are going to upload the classes to a YouTube video, okay, to a YouTube video, and excuse me, YouTube video, YouTube channel. And whenever you want to watch the class again, rewatch it, do whatever you want with the class, you can access to it. Actually, I think the coordinator, the academic coordinator, has already posted the link in the WhatsApp description, in the WhatsApp group description. So you go there, and then you're gonna find the channel. Okay.
Okay, cool. Because
Wonderful.
I will not be available on, I think, on August 30. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Don't worry, it's fine, dear Ezequiel.
Okay.
Classes are recorded. You can watch them whenever you want. Okay. So whenever you have an absence, of course, you can go there, rewatch it. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Wonderful, Ezequiel. Thank you very much for your responses, dear students. Okay, to the poll. I know that you have responded all. Now, thank you. Any other final thing you may want me to clarify? Or we're fine.
For me, everything is fine. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ezequiel. Okay, so thank you very much, dear students, for being with me. Of course, there are more students. Many of your classmates have not gotten into the class. Nonetheless, tomorrow, I hope that tomorrow we are going to be full. We're going to have a full house, and we are going to start. Okay, so tomorrow, please have something I wanted to tell you. For every single class, please have prepared a sheet of paper. Okay, a blank sheet of paper, pencils, something to write on, because we're going to be taking notes. Okay, for all the exercises we're going to be practicing. Okay, thank you very much. Have a wonderful night. I see you tomorrow.
Thank you. Glad to
Thank
meet
you
you
so
all.
much.
See you
Thank
tomorrow.
you. See you tomorrow.
See you. Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Buenas noches.
Buenas
See you.
noches.
Bye
Bye.
bye. Bye bye. Thank you. Buenas noches.